Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about something that can change the course of your life. Something that stands between your dreams and your reality, action. We are all born with incredible potential. Inside each of us lies a wealth of possibilities, a unique purpose waiting to be fulfilled. But here's the truth. That potential will never materialize on its own. It requires you to take action. The hardest part of any journey is taking that first step. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of dreaming, planning, and waiting for the perfect moment. But I'm here to tell you today that the perfect moment doesn't exist. Waiting for conditions to be ideal will only keep you stuck. You must act now. Why? Because action is the key that unlocks everything. The decisions you make today, the steps you take, the risks you dare to take. These will define your future. Nothing happens without action. But there's something that holds us back from taking that action. Fear. Fear of failure. Fear of the unknown. Fear of making mistakes. But what if I told you that fear isn't a sign that you should stop? It's a sign that you should push forward. Every time you feel fear, know that you are standing on the precipice of growth. Fear is the doorway to greatness. The question is, will you walk through it or will you let it paralyze you? Let me tell you something about failure. It's not the end. Failure is simply a stepping stone. Every great success story is built on a foundation of failures. You learn more from the things that don't work than the things that do. So do not fear failure. Embrace it. Because every failure brings you one step closer to success. The truth is, the road to success isn't paved with perfection. It's paved with consistent, deliberate action. Action that may not always be perfect, but action that moves you forward. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be perfect. But you do have to move. Action creates momentum. And once you gain momentum, you'll find yourself moving faster than you ever imagined. You might be asking, but what if I don't know where to start? Let me tell you, you don't need all the answers. Just start where you are. Look at what's within your control today. It's not about waiting for the perfect plan or the right resources. It's about making the decision to act with what you have right now. Once you begin, the path will unfold before you, but even as you take action, remember this: you are in control of your life. You are the architect of your own destiny. Stop waiting for the right conditions or for someone else to make things happen. Take ownership, take responsibility. You are the one who has the power to shape your future, and that power begins with taking action. And as you move forward, surround yourself with people who will hold you accountable. People who will support your growth and push you when you want to quit. Because let's face it, discipline is hard. There will be days when you don't feel like it, when it's easier to give up. But it's in those moments that you must dig deep, push through, remember why you started, and keep moving forward. Now think about this. What's on the other side of your action? It's not just success. It's growth. It's fulfillment. It's the satisfaction of knowing that you took the chance. You fought through the fear and you became the person you were always meant to be. The greatest reward is not in the outcome, it's in the journey, the transformation that happens when you push yourself, when you choose to act despite the obstacles, despite the fear. The reward is not in the destination, it's in the person you become along the way. So I challenge you today, take action. Don't wait, don't hesitate. Push yourself even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels difficult. Every action, no matter how small, moves you closer to your dreams. It's time to stop dreaming about the future. It's time to create it. The power is in your hands. The decision is yours. Push yourself to take action. Each of us carries within us a wellspring of untapped potential. This potential is not something that can be measured in immediate accomplishments or external recognition, but it resides in the core of who we are. It's the ability to do more, to be more, and to achieve beyond what we currently think is possible. But here's the thing, potential alone means nothing without action. You may have all the talent, all the drive, and all the dreams in the world. But until you step forward and embrace that potential by taking meaningful action, it remains dormant. Embracing your potential means recognizing that you are capable of far more than you might believe right now. It means shedding the doubts and fears that have limited you and understanding that there's a greater version of yourself waiting to be unlocked. It's about seeing your future as something you can actively shape, not just something that happens to you. When you embrace your potential, you make the conscious decision to stop holding back. You stop letting your fears dictate what you can and cannot do. Instead, you lean into your strengths, acknowledge your weaknesses, and trust that even in the face of uncertainty, you are capable of growth. It's about knowing that every step you take, even if small, is a step towards realizing your true potential. But this journey is not always easy. The road to embracing your potential is often filled with challenges and setbacks. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone, to confront the unknown, and to persist even when things don't go according to plan. But in doing so, you will discover strengths and talents you never knew you had. When you push through obstacles, you realize that your true potential is far greater than any limitation you once believed to be real. Embracing your potential also means accepting that you don't need to be perfect from the start. There will be mistakes, there will be failures, but each of these is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become stronger. It's about accepting that the path forward will never be linear, but trusting that every experience adds to the foundation that builds your ultimate success. Embrace the journey with all its bumps, because they shape you into the person capable of achieving what you once thought was out of reach. The key is action. Taking that first step and the next is the real test of your potential. Your dreams cannot become reality until you choose to push yourself beyond where you are right now. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we experience. It can freeze us in place, making it feel impossible to move forward. Fear often convinces us that we are incapable, that the risks are too high, and that the obstacles are insurmountable. It whispers in our ear, telling us that we are not ready, that we are not enough. But what if I told you that fear doesn't have to be an enemy? What if you could see fear as a signal, a reminder that you are on the verge of something significant, something that requires you to grow beyond your current limitations? The truth is, fear is a natural part of life. It's the mind's way of protecting us from potential harm. But it also has the ability to hold us back from reaching our true potential. Fear thrives in uncertainty, in the unknown and in the unfamiliar. It's easy to stay where things feel safe and predictable. But the real magic of life lies in the spaces where fear resides. In the moments when you step into the unknown and choose to move forward despite the fear. Overcoming fear doesn't mean the fear disappears. In fact, fear might always be present in some form, especially when you're about to take on something new or challenging. But overcoming fear means not letting it control your actions. It means choosing to act in spite of it, to face it head on, and to press forward regardless of the doubts and anxieties it stirs within you. It's about building the courage to keep moving even when every part of you feels uncertain. One of the most empowering things you can do is to acknowledge fear, but not let it dictate your decisions. When you face fear, you start to realize that the worst case scenario is often not as dangerous as it feels in your mind. You begin to see that fear's power lies in its ability to make us imagine the worst, but that the reality is usually much less intimidating. Fear is a story we tell ourselves, and once we recognize that, we gain the power to rewrite it. Think about the things you've already accomplished. Most likely, many of those achievements came after you had to face some fear. Whether it was starting a new job, speaking in front of an audience, or taking a leap into the unknown, you were afraid. But you did it anyway. And with each experience, you grew stronger, more confident, and more equipped to tackle whatever fear comes next. Fear, in that sense, becomes a teacher. It shows you where you need to grow, where you need to expand, and where your courage can rise to meet the challenge. Overcoming fear requires persistence. It's about showing up every day, even when fear is present, and proving to yourself that you are stronger than the doubts. It's not about eliminating fear, but about learning to move with it, to allow it to be a companion on your journey, not the driver. Each time you face fear and keep going, you build resilience. And with that resilience comes a greater sense of control over your own life. You start to realize that fear no longer holds the same power over you. It becomes just another part of the process, one that you learn to navigate with confidence and grace. So instead of waiting for fear to disappear, understand that it's an integral part of your growth. Embrace it, learn from it, and use it as a stepping stone to push yourself further. Fear will always be a part of the journey, but it doesn't have to stop you. When you choose to act despite fear, you realize that it's not the fear that defines you, it's how you choose to respond to it. The moment you make a decision, you create a pathway toward the life you want. A decision is not just a choice between two or more options. It is a declaration of intent, a commitment to take control of your destiny. Too often we find ourselves caught in indecision, hesitant to make a choice because we fear making the wrong one. But what many don't realize is that indecision is its own form of paralysis, one that keeps us stuck in the same place, unable to move forward. The true power lies in the decision itself, in the act of committing to a course of action, regardless of how uncertain the future may seem. When you make a decision, you tap into a force greater than yourself. The moment you choose, you direct your energy, your focus, and your resources toward that specific goal or outcome. This act of choosing is empowering because it eliminates the ambiguity, the uncertainty, and the doubt. Once you've made a decision, you no longer need to question whether or not you should act. You simply know that you must. The energy that was once consumed by indecision is now channeled into making progress. With each decision, you build momentum. And momentum is the key to unlocking greater opportunities. Making decisions is not always easy. It requires courage because sometimes we don't know what the outcome will be, or we fear that we might make the wrong choice. But the truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect decision. Every decision you make is simply a step in the journey. And the important thing is to keep moving forward. In many cases, the path reveals itself more clearly after you've taken that first step. You may not have all the answers, but the decision to move forward allows the process of discovery to unfold. One of the greatest sources of power in life is the ability to make decisions that align with your values, your purpose, and your vision. When you choose with intention, you are not just reacting to life, you are actively shaping it. A decision to act today will determine where you are tomorrow. Every great accomplishment, every success begins with a decision to take that first step. Whether it's deciding to change your career, to pursue a new relationship, or to embark on a personal transformation. The act of deciding marks the moment when your future begins to shift. It's as if the universe aligns itself with your commitment and starts to open up opportunities you may not have noticed before. In the face of uncertainty, many hesitate, waiting for clarity or for a perfect opportunity to present itself. But often, clarity comes only after action. The key is not to wait for everything to be perfect. It's to take the step, even when you don't have all the answers. Once you make a decision, you begin to receive the insight and guidance you need to move forward. It's as though the universe rewards your decision with the tools you need to succeed. But that can only happen if you take the first step. We must remember that the power of decision isn't just about making choices. It's about deciding to act. Every decision you make is an affirmation of your commitment to progress. And the more decisions you make, the more you develop the confidence and trust in yourself to make even bolder choices. As you continue to act on your decisions, you gain clarity, and that clarity propels you forward into more opportunities. The power of decision is not just about the direction it gives you, but also about the momentum it creates in your life. Decisions define the course of your life. The choices you make, both big and small, create the path you walk on. And the great thing is, you have the ability to choose at any moment. The past does not determine your future unless you allow it to. The power is always within you to make new decisions, to redirect your life's path, and to move toward the person you are meant to become. The simple, yet profound act of making a decision can change everything. Perfection can be an elusive and often paralyzing ideal. We often find ourselves waiting for the perfect moment or striving to create something flawless before taking action. But in doing so, we delay progress and miss out on valuable opportunities. The pursuit of perfection can become a trap, one that leads to hesitation, self-doubt, and inaction. The truth is, perfection doesn't exist in the way we imagine it. Instead, what truly drives success is consistency, showing up day after day, even when things are imperfect, and making incremental progress. When you focus on perfection, you make the mistake of believing that everything must align perfectly before you can move forward. But life rarely works that way. We all face challenges, setbacks, and obstacles, and no amount of planning or preparation can account for every variable. The pursuit of perfection can create an illusion that if things aren't flawless, they're not worth pursuing. However, what really makes the difference is the decision to keep going even when things are less than perfect. Success is often built on the foundation of repeated effort over time, not on a single perfect execution. Consistency means committing to the process, embracing the journey, and trusting that the small, steady actions you take today will lead to significant results in the future. It's about getting better over time, not being flawless from the start. Each step you take, even if it feels like a small or insignificant move, compounds and adds up. The consistent actions you take, whether they're big or small, create momentum that moves you forward. Over time, those small actions turn into significant achievements, even if the journey didn't look perfect at every turn. Perfection often leads to procrastination. We tell ourselves that we're not ready yet, that we need more time, or that we need everything to be aligned before we take the first step. But in waiting for perfection, we delay progress and keep ourselves trapped in a cycle of indecision. Consistency, on the other hand, is about taking imperfect action. It's about making a commitment to do something regularly, even if it's not perfect, because doing it is better than doing nothing at all. The simple act of showing up day after day gradually brings you closer to your goal, and with each effort you improve. The key to success isn't avoiding mistakes, it's learning from them. Perfection doesn't offer room for growth because it's based on an unrealistic standard. It sets you up for frustration, self-criticism, and eventually burnout. But consistency allows you to fail and try again without the pressure to be flawless. It gives you the freedom to learn, adjust, and grow. Every mistake you make along the way provides valuable lessons, and with each lesson comes improvement. The key is to stay consistent in your efforts and trust the process, even when things don't look perfect. Over time, the results of consistency speak for themselves. What once seemed like an imperfect attempt will become a polished outcome through repeated effort and dedication. The person you become through consistent action is far more important than the momentary perfection of a single accomplishment. It's through consistency that you build discipline, resilience, and confidence, knowing that no matter how challenging the journey may be, you can count on yourself to show up and keep going. Life is not about waiting for the perfect conditions. It's about creating progress regardless of the imperfections. Consistency over perfection is what drives growth, and growth is what leads to success. Success is not born from avoiding mistakes or seeking perfection, but from continually moving forward, even when it's messy, even when it's hard. So embrace the process, embrace the journey, and let consistency be your guiding principle. It is the steady, persistent effort that will take you further than any pursuit of perfection ever could. Failure is often seen as something to be avoided, a sign of weakness or incompetence. We're conditioned to fear it, to think of it as something that defines us, but in reality, failure is an essential part of any meaningful journey. It's not the end of the road, but a natural and necessary step toward success. In fact, failure is not only inevitable, it's a crucial part of growth. Without failure, there is no true progress. Every great achievement, every breakthrough comes after countless mistakes, missteps, and lessons learned the hard way. When we fail, it's easy to feel discouraged, to question ourselves, and to wonder whether we're cut out for the path we've chosen. but failure does not define who we are. It doesn't label us as incapable or unworthy. Instead, failure offers us valuable insights into what doesn't work, what needs to be improved, and where we can make adjustments. Each time we fail, we gain wisdom. We learn not just from the mistakes themselves, but from the resilience it takes to rise again, to keep moving forward and to try again. Failure is not something that should be feared, but embraced. It teaches us humility and perseverance. It forces us to confront our limitations and stretch beyond them. Every failure presents an opportunity to adapt, grow stronger, and refine our strategies. It's through these experiences that we discover what we're truly capable of. It's through failure that we cultivate the mindset needed to succeed in the long term. The most successful people are not those who have never failed, but those who have failed, learned from it, and kept going. Failure also helps us redefine success. Often we see success as an outcome, a destination we reach once we've gotten everything perfect. But true success lies in the journey, and the journey includes all the bumps along the way. It's not about avoiding failure, but about using it to fuel your growth and determination. Every time you fail and continue to push forward, you're not just moving toward your goal, you're becoming the person who is capable of achieving it. Each failure brings you closer to understanding what you need to do differently, and with each lesson, you refine your approach until you reach success. Think about the most inspiring people you admire. Behind their triumphs lies a history of failures. They've stumbled, fallen, and been knocked down, but they never allowed failure to be their final story. Instead, they saw it as part of the process. It was their willingness to keep going in the face of failure that allowed them to reach their highest potential. If they had let fear of failure control them, they would have never achieved what they did. The greatest achievements come not from avoiding mistakes, but from learning to move forward regardless of the setbacks. Failure also teaches us resilience. It's easy to succeed when everything goes according to plan, but real growth happens when things don't go as expected. The ability to rise after falling, to keep pushing even when things are difficult, is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. Every time you fail and get back up, you become stronger, more equipped, and more capable of handling the challenges ahead. Failure in this way becomes a tool for building character and fortitude. Failure forces us to think differently. It challenges our assumptions, forces us to step back, reassess, and innovate. When we fail, we often find ourselves searching for new ways to approach problems, new solutions to challenges. It's this process of trial and error, of constantly reevaluating and improving, that leads to true mastery. Failure gives us the freedom to experiment, to take risks, and to explore uncharted territory without the burden of perfection weighing us down. Failure is not something to fear or avoid. It's an integral part of the path to success. And it's through failure that we develop the resilience, wisdom, and determination necessary to achieve our dreams. Rather than seeing failure as a setback, we should see it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to improve. It's part of the process, and without it, we wouldn't become the people we are meant to be. The key is not to let failure stop you. Let it teach you, shape you, and prepare you forward toward greater things. Because in reality, failure is simply a stepping stone on the journey to success. In life, we often find ourselves caught up in the things we can control, the actions of others, the circumstances that arise, or the unpredictable events that shape our world. It's easy to become overwhelmed by these external factors, to feel as though we're at the mercy of everything happening around us. But when we focus on what we can control, we shift our energy and power back to where it belongs, within ourselves. The truth is, there is so much within our control that can make a profound impact on our lives, and it is this focus that will drive us toward the outcomes we desire. One of the first things we can control is our own mindset. The way we perceive challenges, setbacks, or even success plays a significant role in how we experience life. If we let negative thoughts dominate, if we allow ourselves to get caught in self-doubt or fear, we limit our potential. But when we take control of our thoughts, when we choose to focus on positivity, growth, and possibility, we open up new avenues for success. Our mindset shapes our reality. And by taking charge of how we think, we can reframe challenges as opportunities, seeing them not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones to progress. Another aspect we control is our actions. No matter what circumstances we face, we have the ability to decide how we respond. We may not be able to control external events, but we always have a choice in how we react to them. When life throws us a curveball, it's easy to feel helpless, to want to blame others or the situation. But true power lies in choosing how to act in those moments, whether we rise to the occasion or allow ourselves to be defeated. By focusing on our actions, we take responsibility for our lives and stop waiting for the perfect conditions to make progress. We realize that even small, consistent actions add up, and they are within our control. Our time is another element we can control. Time is one of the most valuable resources we have, yet so often we waste it by focusing on things that don't serve us, worrying about the past, stressing about the future, or getting caught up in things beyond our influence. But how we spend our time is entirely within our control. We can choose to invest our time in personal growth, in relationships, in work that aligns with our purpose, and in activities that bring us joy. Time is something we can never get back. So the more consciously we decide how to spend it, the more fulfilled and productive we will become. We also control the effort we put into our goals. It's easy to become distracted or discouraged when we don't see immediate results. But success requires consistent effort day in and day out. The effort we put into improving ourselves, developing new skills, and advancing our goals is entirely within our control. Regardless of external factors, we can choose to give our best in every endeavor, no matter how small. It's the discipline and persistence we apply to our goals that ultimately leads to success. By focusing on the effort we exert, we maintain control over our progress, and we can continue to build momentum even when the path ahead is uncertain. Another important factor within our control is our habits. The daily routines and behaviors we practice shape our lives in profound ways. It's often the small, seemingly insignificant habits, whether it's how we start our morning, how we manage stress, or how we prioritize our health, that have the greatest impact over time. When we take control of our habits, we create a foundation for success. The more intentional we are about the habits we cultivate, the more aligned our actions become with our goals. And as these habits build, they create lasting change that we might not see immediately, but will benefit from in the long run. We control our commitment to growth. Life is an ongoing journey of learning and evolving. While we can't control how others grow or the circumstances that might affect us, we can choose to commit to our own personal development. Whether it's through reading, seeking feedback, learning from failure, or stepping outside our comfort zones, our growth is in our hands. By making a conscious decision to invest in ourselves and our development, we put ourselves in the best position to succeed regardless of the challenges we face. When we focus on what we can control, we stop wasting energy on things that are outside our influence. We stop stressing over things that don't matter and instead direct our efforts toward what truly matters: our mindset, our actions, our time, our effort, our habits, and our growth. This shift in focus empowers us to take charge of our lives and create the outcomes we desire. While we can control everything, we can control how we respond, how we act, and the choices we make each day. And in doing so, we position ourselves to live the life we truly want. Action is the catalyst that propels us forward. It's easy to get caught up in planning, thinking, and imagining what we want to accomplish, but without action, nothing changes. The simple truth is that action creates momentum. When you take the first step, however small it may seem, it sets the wheels in motion. It generates energy, builds confidence, and makes the next step seem more achievable. Each action you take, regardless of how insignificant it may appear in the moment, compounds over time, creating a force that can carry you toward your goals. Inaction, on the other hand, keeps us stuck. The longer we wait, the more overwhelming the journey may feel. We tell ourselves that we need more preparation, more knowledge, more certainty. But the reality is that waiting for the perfect moment often leads to paralysis. The more we overthink, the more we give power to our doubts and fears, Action breaks this cycle. It's the antidote to hesitation. And the more you act, the easier it becomes to keep going. Momentum is built on the simple principle that motion creates more motion. Once you begin, even if the progress is slow, the momentum picks up. Each decision to act builds on the last. And you start to see how each step, no matter how small, takes you closer to your desired destination. It's in the act of doing that we build momentum. Think about any project, habit, or goal you've ever pursued. The first step is often the hardest because the path ahead feels unclear. But once you begin, you gain clarity. You start to see opportunities and solutions that weren't obvious before. Each action you take brings new insights and connections. You learn, adjust, and evolve. Momentum creates its own energy. And with that energy comes progress. Even on the days when the results aren't immediately visible, the act of continuing to take action, of not letting yourself stop, is what drives you forward. Momentum also helps us overcome obstacles. It's easy to be discouraged when challenges arise, especially if we feel like we've made little progress. But when we keep moving forward, even if it's just a small step, we start to see how much ground we've covered. The further we go, the more confident we become in our ability to navigate difficulties. When we stop moving, we become stagnant, and the obstacles seem larger than they really are. But when we're in motion, even the toughest challenges feel more manageable. Action builds resilience. And as we overcome one obstacle after another, we become more capable of facing the next one. Consistency in action is key to building sustainable momentum. It's not about taking massive leaps all at once. It's about showing up regularly and putting in the work day after day. The small steps add up. They may not seem like much in the moment, but over time, they add up to something much greater. Consistent action creates a rhythm, a flow that helps you build momentum and keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. It's easy to lose sight of your goals when you don't see immediate results, but the beauty of consistent action is that it doesn't require perfection. It just requires persistence. The more you persist, the more momentum you build, and eventually that momentum carries you beyond where you once thought possible. Action also fuels motivation. Many people wait to feel motivated before they act, but the truth is, motivation often comes after we take action. When you start doing something, even if it's just a small task, you create a sense of accomplishment. That feeling of progress sparks motivation, which encourages you to keep going. Momentum, therefore, becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. The more action you take, the more motivated you feel. And the more motivated you feel, the more action you take. It's a powerful loop that drives progress. The key to maintaining momentum is to not focus on perfection or the end result, but on the process. Action doesn't need to be flawless. It just needs to keep happening. Don't wait for the right conditions or the perfect time. The right time is always now. As you continue to take action, you build confidence, refine your approach, and learn along the way. Each step you take, no matter how small, creates momentum that propels you toward success. And in time, you'll find that the momentum you've built has become so powerful that it carries you through even the toughest of times. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the force that turns dreams into reality. When you take action, you open up a world of possibility, and the momentum you create from each step forward propels you toward your goals. So take the first step, then the next, and the next. As you move forward, you'll find that momentum carries you further than you ever thought possible. Taking ownership of your life is about accepting full responsibility for where you are, where you're going, and how you respond to the circumstances you face. It means acknowledging that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you have absolute control over how you react and the choices you make. Ownership is a mindset shift. It's moving from a place where you feel like a passenger in your own life to one where you realize that you are the driver. It's about no longer blaming others, circumstances, or external factors for where you are or where you're not. Instead, it's taking full accountability for your actions, your decisions, and your path forward. When you take ownership, You stop waiting for things to change before you take action. You stop saying things like, I'll be happy when this happens, or I'll take control once I have more time or money. You realize that your life is shaped by the decisions you make today, not by the things that are out of your control. The power to change your life is in your hands, and it's in the choices you make. Taking ownership means being honest with yourself about the decisions that have brought you to this point and acknowledging that. Moving forward, only you have the ability to create the future you want. Ownership also means letting go of the victim mentality. It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking that life is happening to you. When you're in this mindset, it's easy to feel powerless, helpless, and like you don't have control over your circumstances. But the moment you take ownership, you break free from that mentality. You recognize that no matter what life throws at you, you have the power to choose your response, to change your attitude, and to take meaningful action toward the life you want. You understand that obstacles are just opportunities to grow and learn, not signs of defeat. Ownership means seeing yourself as the author of your story, even if it's been messy up until now. Taking ownership of your life is also about embracing the discomfort that comes with growth. Growth never happens in the comfort zone. It requires you to take responsibility for pushing yourself, for stepping outside of what's easy and familiar. It means acknowledging that you have the ability to learn from mistakes, to adjust your course when necessary, and to face challenges head-on rather than avoiding them. When you take ownership, you commit to growing, even when it's difficult. You commit to doing the hard work of improving yourself and your situation, regardless of how long it may take or how challenging it may feel at times. Ownership means setting clear goals and taking intentional steps toward achieving them. It's easy to dream about the future, but dreams without action are just wishes. Taking ownership means having a clear vision of where you want to go and actively pursuing it every day. It's about taking responsibility for your personal development, whether it's learning new skills, improving your health, or strengthening relationships. It's about recognizing that your progress is in your hands and choosing to move forward with purpose. Every action you take toward your goals, no matter how small, is a declaration of your commitment to taking control of your life. Another aspect of ownership is learning to trust yourself. When you take ownership of your life, you begin to trust your decisions. Even when they don't turn out perfectly, you understand the mistakes are part of the process. And they don't define you, they refine you. Trusting yourself means you have faith in your ability to adapt, learn, and course correct. It's about giving yourself permission to fail without fear of judgment, and knowing that you have the resilience to bounce back stronger. Taking ownership of your life means you no longer rely on others to validate your choices or decisions. You trust your instincts and your ability to figure things out. Taking ownership also means prioritizing your well-being, physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's understanding that taking care of yourself is not a luxury, but a necessity in order to live the life you want. This means making conscious decisions to nurture your body, mind, and spirit. It means taking responsibility for your health, your mental clarity, and your emotional balance. You recognize that in order to show up fully for others and for your goals, you must first show up for yourself. Ownership isn't just about taking charge of your external circumstances, it's about taking charge of how you feel and how you take care of yourself on a deeper level. In relationships, ownership means taking responsibility for your actions, communication, and energy. It's about being aware of how your behavior affects those around you and making a conscious effort to foster positive, supportive relationships. It's not about blaming others for misunderstandings or conflicts, but about owning your part in them and working towards solutions. Taking ownership in relationships means showing up authentically, taking responsibility for your actions, and continually striving to improve how you engage with others. Taking ownership of your life is about embracing your full potential. It's about realizing that you have the power to shape your own future. No one is coming to save you or fix things for you. The responsibility is yours, and that is incredibly empowering. It's about taking action, making decisions, and trusting that you have the ability to create a life that aligns with your values, your passions, and your vision. Taking ownership is not about perfection. but about consistently choosing to be the best version of yourself and taking control of the narrative you want to write for your life. Accountability and discipline are two of the most powerful forces you can harness to create the life you want. Both are foundational to success, and while they are often discussed together, they each play a unique role in helping us achieve our goals. Accountability is about holding yourself responsible for the actions you take or don't take, while discipline is the ability to stay focused and consistent in the face of challenges. Together, they form a dynamic duo that ensures progress, growth, and ultimately success. At its core, accountability is about being honest with yourself. It's about acknowledging that you are the one responsible for your actions and their outcome. Accountability requires a level of self-awareness and honesty that most people don't often practice. It's easy to blame others, circumstances, or even luck when things don't go the way we expect. But true accountability means owning up to your role in every situation, whether the result is favorable or not. It's understanding that your choices, actions, and attitudes determine your reality. You're not just accountable to others, but to yourself. When you take responsibility for your actions, you empower yourself to make changes, improve, and move forward. The beauty of accountability is that it forces us to confront our weaknesses and limitations. It encourages us to stop making excuses and to recognize the areas where we've fallen short. Rather than dwelling on mistakes or failures, accountability helps us learn from them and grow. It motivates us to keep pushing forward because we realize that every action we take, accountability gives us the courage to be honest about what we've done, what we haven't done, and what needs to change. It's not about shame or guilt, it's about empowerment. When you're accountable to yourself, you have the power to course correct and keep moving toward your goals with purpose and clarity. Discipline, on the other hand, is what keeps you moving forward when accountability alone isn't enough. While accountability helps us stay responsible for our actions, discipline ensures that we continue taking consistent, focused steps toward our goals, even when we don't feel like it. It's easy to act when we're motivated, when everything feels easy and smooth, but discipline is what gets us through the tough times, the days when we'd rather give up or take the easy way out. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, whether or not we feel like it. It's the ability to stay on course, even when things aren't going as planned or when distractions tempt us to veer off path. The key to discipline is consistency. It's about developing the habits that will carry us toward our goals, even when the initial excitement has worn off. It's easy to start something new, to be excited about a project, a goal, or a dream, but discipline is what ensures we stay committed long enough to see it through. When you practice discipline, you're creating a routine that helps you stay focused and productive, even when motivation wanes. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about showing up every day, even on the days when you don't feel like it. It's about making progress, no matter how small, and trusting that the cumulative effect of your efforts will lead to success. Accountability and discipline are not just about big dramatic changes. They're about making small, consistent choices that add up over time. It's easy to overlook the value of small steps, but these tiny actions are what build the foundation for long-term success. When you hold yourself accountable, you start to see where you can make improvements, and when you bring discipline into your life, you're putting those improvements into action. Over time, these small, consistent actions lead to big results. Both accountability and discipline require a shift in mindset. We have to move away from a mindset of convenience and instant gratification and instead embrace a mindset of long-term growth and progress. This means making choices that align with our goals and sticking to them even when it's difficult. It means being willing to put in the effort now, even if the rewards won't come immediately. It's about trusting the process and knowing that each step forward, no matter how small, is a step closer to where you want to be. Accountability and discipline also work in tandem to help us stay on track when obstacles arise. Life will always present challenges, whether it's a setback, failure, or a moment of self-doubt. But when you're accountable to yourself and have the discipline to keep going, You can push through these tough moments. Accountability helps you acknowledge when things go wrong, while discipline gives you the strength to persist and find new solutions. Both require you to stay committed to your goals, even when the path is not always clear or easy. When you cultivate both accountability and discipline, you create a system of checks and balances that keeps you grounded. Accountability ensures that you don't make excuses, and discipline ensures that you stay committed. Together, they help you stay focused on your vision, take the necessary actions, and maintain the consistency required to achieve your goals. By holding yourself accountable and practicing discipline, you take ownership of your life and move forward with intention, even when the journey is difficult. Success doesn't happen overnight, but through consistent effort, responsibility, and perseverance, you create the momentum needed to achieve it. The reward of action is not always immediate or tangible, but its impact is profound. Action is the bridge between where we are and where we want to be. It is the driving force that transforms thoughts, dreams, and intentions into reality. When we take action, we are not just moving toward our goals, we are actively shaping our future, building the life we envision step by step. The reward of action goes beyond simple results. It is the growth, the experiences, and the opportunities that arise from the act of doing that truly transform us. At first, the rewards of action might seem small, almost insignificant. A single step may not feel like much, but over time, the cumulative effect of consistent action leads to significant change. Each action, no matter how small, is a declaration of your commitment to progress. It's a testament to your willingness to move forward, even when the road ahead is unclear. The reward of action often lies in the momentum it creates. Once you take that first step, even when it feels uncertain, you begin to build momentum that propels you further along your path. The more you act, the more your confidence grows, and the more you realize that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. Action also provides clarity. When you sit back and wait, the future remains uncertain, filled with doubts and fears. But when you take action, you start to gain clarity about what works and what doesn't. You begin to see the bigger picture, not just in terms of your goals, but in terms of your capabilities, your strengths, and your limitations. The act of doing reveals insights that thinking alone can't provide. You may stumble, fail, or make mistakes, but each misstep is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and refine your approach. Through action, you find the answers to the questions that hold you back and eliminate the guesswork. The clarity that comes from taking action is invaluable. It allows you to adjust your course and stay aligned with your true purpose. Action also teaches us resilience. When we act, we put ourselves out there. And sometimes we face setbacks. These challenges might feel discouraging in the moment, but they are part of the process. The reward of action is the strength we gain from overcoming obstacles. Every time you push through adversity, you become stronger, more adaptable, and better equipped to handle the next challenge. Failure, rejection, and disappointment are not signs of defeat, but opportunities for growth. The more you act, the more you build resilience, and the more you learn to navigate life's unpredictable nature. Over time, this resilience becomes one of the greatest rewards of action. You begin to trust yourself, your ability to bounce back, and your capacity to keep going no matter the challenges that arise. Action fosters creativity and innovation. When we act, we expose ourselves to new experiences and perspectives. These experiences spark new ideas and insights, opening up possibilities we may not have considered before. The more we take action, the more we are exposed to the world around us, and the more we can see connections between things that once seemed unrelated. It is in the process of doing, not in the thinking or planning, that the creative spark ignites. Action brings opportunities for innovation and personal growth, giving us the chance to explore, experiment, and refine our skills and ideas. In this way, the reward of action is not just the results you achieve, but the way it shapes your thinking, creativity, and ability to adapt. One of the most powerful rewards of action is the sense of empowerment it brings. When we take action, we step into our own power. We stop waiting for the perfect moment or external validation. Instead, we take control of our lives and our circumstances. This sense of empowerment comes from knowing that we are in charge of our journey, that our actions are the catalyst for change. When you realize that the act of doing is within your control, you take ownership of your future. The more you act, the more you see that your decisions shape the life you lead. And this realization brings an undeniable sense of freedom and autonomy. Action also leads to the reward of progress. The simple act of taking a step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Every effort you make, every decision you follow through on, brings you closer to your goals. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the big picture, but focusing on the progress made through consistent action allows you to see just how far you've come. Progress builds momentum, which keeps you moving. Even when obstacles arise, the more action you take, the more your progress becomes undeniable, and this progress fuels even more action. The reward of action is not just reaching the destination, but realizing that with every step you take, you are becoming more of the person you want to be. Action builds relationships and creates opportunities. When you take action, you put yourself out into the world. You engage with others, whether it's through work, social interactions, or personal endeavor. By acting, you open doors to connections, collaborations, and opportunities that you might never have encountered by staying passive. Action creates ripple effects that lead to unexpected chances for growth and success. The relationships you build through action become valuable assets that support and propel you forward. And these connections often become one of the most rewarding outcomes of putting yourself out there. The reward of action is also in the sense of fulfillment it brings. There's something deeply satisfying about taking the reins of your own life, about being able to look back and see the progress you've made because you took that first step. The act of creating something, moving toward a goal, and achieving milestones brings a sense of pride and accomplishment. The satisfaction comes not just from the result, but from the effort, the persistence, and the journey. When you act, you align your intentions with your actions, and this alignment brings deep fulfillment. It's a feeling that you are living with purpose and direction, not just existing, but actively creating the life you desire. The rewards of action are endless, often far surpassing what we initially expect. The growth, the clarity, the resilience, the empowerment, and the progress that come from taking action are the true rewards. They shape who we are, how we see the world, and what we are capable of achieving. The simple act of doing, despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the challenges, becomes a transformative force that leads us toward the life we envision. Action is not just the key to progress. It is the key to unlocking our full potential. The reward of action is not a distant promise. It is something you can experience right now. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory. Every decision to act, to move forward despite the uncertainties, is a testament to your courage and your commitment to your goals. The rewards aren't always instant, but they are always transformative. The clarity, resilience, growth, and empowerment that come from taking action will lead you toward the life you've always wanted. So, don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for things to be just right. The time to act is now. The power to change, to grow, to create is within you. It's not in the waiting, it's in the doing. The reward is in the action itself. Step forward with conviction, embrace the journey, and remember this: action is the key that unlocks all the doors to the life you deserve.